Good morning. So, this morning I want to talk about three things that I have seen over 20 years of running a recruitment business that are the main three reasons that people don't get the job that they really want. And uh, I don't know if they'll surprise you, but when you look at it, you would think it was obvious to actually consider these three things and make sure that they're right. But it's not. It doesn't work that way. Let's start with talking about the first of these things, an effective CV. Um, so if your CV is not effective, you're not getting the interview for the job that you really want. And if you're not getting the job interviews for the job that you really want, you're not getting the job that you really want. And you're left holding what's left, the crumbs off the table. By effective CV, what I mean is it's a CV that shouts out at whoever's reading it, the hiring manager, because that's your target, that you have to be the one they interview. It gets you standing head and shoulders above the crowd. It yells out that you're bringing value to the organization, that you will make a difference and that you do make a difference. An effective CV is a CV that effectively projects you forward as their ideal candidate, which means you've got to do some work on it before you send it in, of course. You can't just send any CV and it be effective. If you send a generic CV, it works for generic jobs. If you send a targeted CV for a specific role, then you have a chance that that CV is going to stand out and get you noticed. And if you don't get noticed, you don't get the job. So that's the first of the three examples, of the three items that are killing people's chances to get their dream job. They don't write a CV, or they don't use a CV that's effective to get the job that they really want. But that comes on to the second point, and these points will be related. But the second point is this: they haven't really bothered to understand the job that they're going for in the first place. And this might really surprise you. Um, it might not. But I see people, and it's so, when I look at the people that have applied for the jobs that I have advertised as a recruiter and see what comes through, it is absolutely amazing that some people have applied, because there's just no fit whatsoever. However, that's not what I'm talking about here. Those are the tire kickers. Those are the people that are just wasting people's time, getting in the way. But what I mean by this is that even if it's in an appropriate area, suppose you're a project manager, suppose you work on network projects, but suppose that job description says we want somebody with specific experience of implementing global VPNs, but you've only done national VPNs, and there's a big difference. You know, you haven't done what it says, or you're not projecting yourself to having done what the job spec says. So why do you expect you're going to be pulled out of the hat for the interview? Well, you might do because you are a project manager and you've done VPNs, but then it comes down to the fact that when you get there into the interview, you haven't got a story to tell because you haven't understood the job, or you haven't prepared yourself for the job. You get in there and yeah, you've done that, but you're not prepared for what that was about. And so therefore you splutter and mumble and fumble your way through the interview, and you're not selected because you haven't taken the time and the trouble to actually go away and understand what they are looking for in the first place. But it's more than just about the actual fit for the job. This is cutting across other aspects of the fit for the job to actually understand a little bit about the character of the job, the culture of the job. And that sort of relates to the third point. But let's just consider that for a moment. The character and the culture of the job. This is about being prepared for the interview in the first place. This is about looking at what the culture of the company is and making sure that when you go into that interview environment, that you reflect in that culture. And people, it's an obvious, but people don't prepare for it. They don't look at that. I can remember way back when, you know, a company like AOL, for example, their culture was relaxed, dressed down. They were a typical American organization. They didn't expect people coming suited and booted to an interview. They expected people to come and reflect their culture. And when people came in the wrong, suited and booted, it wasn't that it stopped them getting through. It just wasn't setting the right impression in the first place. Their thoughts are, you haven't even looked at us. You don't know anything about us. And that's the third point. The third point is simply this: researching the company that you're aiming to join. You know, when you're going into an interview, and although the process is a two-way process, they sell to you, you sell to them, but it really does make a big impact if when you're going into that interview, they understand that you've actually put some time into seeing and learning something about them, that you've spent a little bit of time researching the organization, looking at what they're about, what they say about themselves, who's the CEO, how long's the CEO been there, what do they culturally say about themselves. It will be all over their website exactly what they want people to believe. What was their most recent success? What is the biggest success that they've had? If it's a matter of just reading through their news items. They'll tell you, and you pick out the biggest news items, and you're ready with it. You know something about them. But it's not just about going in there and going, I read your news items. It's about understanding what's important to them, what matters to them, and reflecting that in the way that you behave and the way that you go forward into that interview. It's about looking at the team that you're going to be working with. uh, you know, we've never had so much information at hand. In 30 years ago, finding out the size of a team and who was responsible for it and who their bosses are, that was a difficult thing. It wasn't impossible. It needed a bit of background research, and it was still worth doing. But these days, you just go onto LinkedIn and you can get it all together. It's not rocket science. You can get a fairly good idea just looking through LinkedIn who is in the team. Not necessarily everybody, but a good few people, and you get an idea of what they're saying and what their backgrounds have been previously, and whether and then you go in and you reflect what you see, so that you've got a good chance that they are going to be impressed by you, be impressed by at least the fact that you've come in prepared for the interview, prepared for what they are about. So you've got your CV, and it's effective, and it will get you the interview for the job. You've then taken the time to really understand what they're looking for in that job, and you're prepared for what they're looking for. And I'm going to go on to something in a minute as to how you can do this, and you're prepared for what they are looking for, and that you've got the stories you can tell that are going to um, resonate with them, that are going to demonstrate the value that you bring. And then finally, you reflect who they are in the way that you present yourself. Now, obviously, it's a two-way process, an interview, and you want them to come back to you and sell themselves to you, and that's perfectly legitimate. But you have got to sell yourself to them in the first place. So how can you do this effectively? Well, it's all about understanding, in the first instance, your value and exactly the value that you bring to an organization, and then targeting those organizations that are going to benefit from your value and those jobs that are going to benefit from your value. There's no point going into a job that you do not have the right fit for. Don't do it. There's just no point. You are going to fail that interview, or a good chance you're going to fail that interview, unless you're looking deliberately to transfer into something new, and you've expressed that very clearly, that you're looking to transfer into something new, and that they have accepted the fact that you're looking for that transfer into something new. And then you're in a different position, that you're not selling yourself directly into that job. You're selling your experience as being relevant and transferable into that job, which is subtly different, but it's important to make sure that you you bring with you the stories that are going to be compelling as to why you fit that role. And it's about making sure that you have prepared them in advance. And I have a video workshop that I prepared. It's about a 25-minute video, and it goes through how to prepare these stories, how to prepare for to project your profile into a particular environment, how to understand the value and to promote that value into the the job that you're going for, into the um, for whatever purpose it is you're doing it, whether it is a new job that you're looking for, whether it's a promotion you're looking for, even when it's you're bidding for a particular piece of work from a client. This is all relevant for these sorts of things, because you're talking about the value that you bring to that. And I've got this video, and it will show you exactly how to prepare for it, because people don't know how to do this. They are very bad at projecting themselves. They're very bad at talking about what they can achieve, what value they can bring, about selling themselves. And this is what we're really talking here about: being relevant and about aligning yourself to the opportunity that you're looking at. So I've got a video, and there will be, I don't think it's there now, but there will be a link in the description that will take you to that video. There's a small charge. It's a 25-minute workshop that goes through the whole process of building up your the stories that are going to sell you. And at the end of it, the outcome will be that you will know exactly how to both sell yourself directly, but also it will provide you the stories that you can take with you into an interview, or into a a I've forgotten the word now, a proposal meeting, or whatever it is that you're doing. It will give you those stories, but it'll also show you how to convert those stories into your CV, to make your CV effective. It's called Maverick Your Profile. Maverick, because it's a different way of doing things. It's a way that people just don't think about doing, and it's very effective if it's done properly. If you have the stories that you can take with you, that will demonstrate the skill, that not just your skills, but what you've done with those skills, that doesn't just promote the uh, the jobs that you've done, but how effective you were at the jobs that you have done. That doesn't just talk about the you know the well, it does talk about the success, but it doesn't just talk about it in flat terms. It talks about it in quantifiable terms that are going to have an impact, that is going to get people to want to know more about you, and to want to bring you into their organization. So, this is James Foster. This has been Careers Matter, and this is the Career Mastery Revolution.